this video we will be studying about water movement up a plant, which is also known as ascent of sap. In the previous classes, in the previous videos, we had discussed as to how water reaches from the root hair up to the xylem. If you remember, we had done two mechanisms, apoplast and symplast, and I am very confident you understood both the mechanisms very nicely. So, by apoplast and by symplast, your water has already reached which part of the plant? Your water has already reached the xylem. Now, this water in the xylem has to move up in the plant. Because we have aerial parts in the plant, we've got very high trees. So, the water has to travel vertically upwards, even sideways. So, the water movement has to take place up a plant, which is what we call as ascent of sap. We don't call it as ascent of water because this water contains some kind of mineral ions as well. That is why we call it as sap. Why is it called as sap? Because it is not pure water, it is water plus minerals. So, ascent of sap. Now, where are we starting from, beta? We are starting from where we had left, that water from the roots, either by the process of apoplast or by symplast, has already reached your xylem. Now, how will water go up vertically in the xylem? This is what we need to study. This process in which water moves up in a plant is what we call as ascent of sap. Now, the translocation of water or the ascent of sap is always upward. We know that water is always translocated, the direction is always upward. The reason is because water is absorbed from the roots, of course root tips, and then it is going higher to the stems, that means it is reaching the xylem. There are several theories which have been put forward to explain this upward movement of water. Many theories have been put forward which explain that how this water travels inside the xylem. How is it that water moves up in a xylem? I will be taking up only one theory in this video. This theory is called as the root pressure theory. What is the first theory called as? It is called as the root pressure theory. Root pressure theory will simply tell you how water, after it has reached from the root hairs to the xylem, will be going up, how the water is going to move up in the xylem. This root pressure theory simply says, we know that all plants absorb water. But this theory says that plants absorb excess of water. I mean the amount of water which plant requires, more than that a plant generally absorbs. So what is the main base of this theory, root pressure theory? Root pressure theory says that all the plants, they absorb excess of water. When I say excess of water, it means, what is excess? If I normally eat 2 parathas in my tiffin and my mom packs up 3 parathas, so my requirement is only 2 parathas. So I am excess now. I am excess of 1. What does excess mean? More than the requirement. Similarly here, all the plants, when I say they absorb excess water, excess means something more than the normal requirement. All the plants will absorb excess water. Now because of this excess water, what will happen? A positive hydrostatic pressure will be built up inside the root system. Excess of water is coming into the root system. So a hydrostatic pressure is being built up in the root system. This pressure which is being built up in the root system because of excess water is what we call as root pressure. I hope you have understood. Always remember the keyword over here is excess water. Because if the water is equal to the requirement, it will be used up. But here we are talking about which water? We are talking about excess water. We are saying that all the plants, they absorb excess water. And because of the absorption of excess water, a hydrostatic pressure is built up in the root system. This hydrostatic pressure, hydro means water. This pressure which is caused because of water, hydrostatic pressure. So this hydrostatic pressure which is built up in the plants because of excess absorption of water is what we call as the root pressure. It is because of this pressure that water is pushed up, but it also says that because of this pressure, water will be pushed up only to a certain height. Got the two main points of the root pressure theory? The root pressure theory simply says that all plants, what is the root pressure theory trying to tell you? First, let's come to the point, why is this theory put forward? What is this theory telling you? This theory is telling you how water is pushed up in the xylem. What does it say? It says it is because of the root pressure. Because it is of the root pressure, we should know what is root pressure. All plants, what do? They will absorb excess of water. So because of the excess of water in the root system, a hydrostatic pressure is built up. This hydrostatic pressure, because of the excess water which is absorbed by plants, is what we call as root pressure. And it is because of this pressure that water is pushed up. But this water is pushed up, remember, only to a small height. Since this hydrostatic pressure is not very large, it is not very high, so the root pressure theory says this pressure, that is the root pressure, will push the water in the xylem, but it will push it only up to a small height. Is it okay? The pressure in the xylem is already there due to diffusion pressure gradient. In xylem we have what? Diffusion pressure gradient. Because in xylem when water moves a little higher, what will happen? There will be a higher pressure on the top area and a lower pressure. So this is how from higher pressure to lower pressure, water will keep on moving in the xylem also. Now, what is this? This pressure is caused due to diffusion in the pressure gradients also. You know what is pressure gradient? Difference in the pressure, that is high pressure to low pressure. We have a simple experiment. If you want to observe root pressure, it is very easy for you to observe. What you simply need to do is, I have drawn a plant on the board over here on the extreme left side if you see. But remember, it's a soft plant, the stem is quite soft. Now we are going to do this experiment on a time or on a day when there is plenty of moisture in the atmosphere. You can do it either in the early morning, that is the best time to do. Because in early morning you have ample moisture in the atmosphere, you have plenty of moisture in the atmosphere. Make sure you take a plant for observation, a plant which has a soft stem. What will you do? Early morning, get up, cut the stem near the base. What have we to do? We have to cut the stem near the base. What will be your observation? As soon as you cut the stem near the base, you will see that some drops of solution immediately ooze out, immediately come out. And that is because of which pressure? That is because of root pressure. It was because of root pressure that solution, that water which contained minerals was going up. What did you do? You cut the plant in the middle. You cut the soft stem in the middle. Now the water is still coming up because of which pressure? The root pressure. So as soon as you cut, keep your finger on the tip of the stem. You will see that your finger will become wet because of the solution which is oozing out at the cut part. And what is this solution? This is actually the water which contains mineral which is being pushed up because of which pressure? Root pressure. This is a simple experimental demonstration at home you can do if you want to see water pressure. What you simply need to do is think of a small plant, take a small plant in your garden, get up early in the morning when there is a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, plenty of moisture is there. Consider a plant which has a soft stem. Early morning, get up, cut the stem near the base. You will see that at the place where you've done a cut, put your finger tight on that, your thumb on it, and your thumb or your finger will become wet because some kind of solution is oozing out. That solution which is oozing out is because of the root pressure. Now, what do we have now? What is the rate of exudation? Understand this. This process is also called as exudation. E-X-U-D-A-T-I-O-N, exudation. E-X-U-D-A-T-I-O-N. Is it okay for everybody? What is this called? Exudation. Now what will be the rate of exudation? What will be the speed of exudation? Or what will be the speed by which that solution will ooze out from the cut? That is what we call as rate of exudation. Rate of exudation means the rate at which substances or the solution will ooze out. Is it okay for everybody? Rate of exudation is the speed or the rate at which your solution or the substances will ooze out from the place where you made a cut. We have three terms. Exudation, this process where the solution oozes out when you make a cut because of root pressure is exudation. Rate of exudation, the rate at which substances will ooze out, that is your rate of exudation. And the third term related to this is exudates. E-X-U-D-A-T-E-S, exudates. These are the substances which will ooze out. Is it okay for everybody? Exudation is the process in which this solution will ooze out because of root pressure. Rate of exudation is the rate at which substances will ooze out. and exudates are the substances which ooze out. Is it okay for everybody? Exudation, rate of exudation, and exudates, the substances which will ooze out. If you see the second figure, what have I done? The same plant, my stem is already cut. If you see, I have made a cut over there. I have put a glass tube at the cut end of the stem. Now, in place of finger, I want a evidence, I want a verification. So, what have I done? Immediately when I cut the soft stem, I'll put an inverted, what do I put? Inverted glass tube at the cut end of the stem. You will very clearly see that your solution or your sap will ooze up in the tube. You will see rising up. You will see that the solution is rising up in the tube. How much it will rise is the measure of your root pressure. If it rises high in the tube, that means the root pressure for that plant was quite high. If the exudate solution rises at a little height, that will tell you that the root pressure was less. Is it okay for everybody? We've done a simple experiment, the same experiment. As soon as the cut was done, what did I do? I put an inverted glass tube at the cut end of the stem. That same solution, that exudate, will push up, it will rise in the tube. How much it will come will be the measure of my root pressure. Now this root pressure is also influenced by certain factors. We will see that root pressure decreases at certain conditions. And what are those conditions that root pressure decreases? Understand. First is reduced aeration. If the amount of air available to the plant is less, reduced aeration, then the root pressure, that means the amount of air available to the roots is less, then what will you have? You will have reduced aeration. Second is less temperature or high temperature. Both of them are decreasing the root pressure. That means moderate pressure is the best suitable for root pressure. If the temperature is very high or the temperature is very low, it is harmful for the root pressure. That means it will decrease the root pressure. And last is the condition is drought. If there is water deficiency, automatically the root pressure will decrease. So what are the factors which decrease your root pressure very fast? Reduced aeration, low temperatures, high temperatures, and drought. This root pressure is maximum during early mornings in the rainy and the spring seasons. If you want to do these experiments, since we have July very soon coming, it's the rainy season, this is the best time to perform this experiment. Because root pressure is maximum during early mornings in which seasons? In the rainy season and the spring season. Why is this better? Because in these seasons, the level of evaporation is low with the advancement of the day. Even after early morning when the day advances, the sun comes, comparatively the rate of evaporation is low. So there is more of water still stored in the roots. So obviously because of this excess water, the root pressure would be higher. So root pressure would be maximum during early mornings in which season? Rainy season and spring season. The reason is the level of evaporation is low even with the advancement of day in these seasons. I had discussed with you a term exudate. The substances which ooze out are exudates. Mainly what will be the exudates? You will find gums, you will find latex, or you may even find mineral ions. Now, generally what is observed is if all the sap which was collected in the test tube and the liquid was allowed to evaporate, the dry part which was left after experiment was observed to contain gums, latex and mineral ions. So what are the main exudates that you will have? You will have gums, you will have latex and you will have mineral ions. Is it okay for everybody? Root pressure, the pressure which is caused in the plants because of excess water absorption, that is hydrostatic pressure. But remember, this pressure pushes water only up to a small heights. Then we did an experiment where we had cut the plant, we could see a liquid oozing out. This process was exudation. The rate at which it oozes out was rate of exudation. The substances which ooze out were exudates. The substances were gums, latex and minerals. We also did an experiment where we put an inverted glass tube at the cut end of the stem and collected the sap, and we observed that the exudates are mainly gums, latex and minerals. We also revised about the factors which decrease root pressure. They were reduced aeration, extreme low temperatures, extreme high temperatures and droughts. Is it okay for everybody? Now, however, there is some limitation of this theory. Like every theory we have certain limitations, there are certain drawbacks. So what are the limitations of the root pressure, beta? The first is it cannot lift sufficient amount of water to fill the requirements of plants. However, it can push a little amount of water, but it cannot push sufficient amount of water that the requirement of the plant is fulfilled. This is not possible only with the help of which pressure? Root pressure. Second drawback is it cannot transport water in tall plants. If you remember, I told you it will only push water up to small heights. So when we talk about big trees like gymnosperms, this will not be a suitable mechanism. It will not be able to transport water in tall trees like gymnosperms. First, it cannot carry sufficient water, it cannot lift sufficient water. Second, it cannot transport water to tall plants. And third, beta, it is almost absent or nil in summers when the water requirement is high. When water requirement is high, this amount of contribution of the water pressure is almost nil. The amount of water which reaches in the upper heights of the xylem because of root pressure is nil if you compare it to the total amount of water which is transported in the xylem. So these are the main drawbacks that we have. So what is the conclusion then? The conclusion is, of course, root pressure is important. It plays an important role in some plants in some seasons. It is important in some plants in some seasons, but it cannot fulfill the requirement of higher trees in all seasons. This is the conclusion. Yes, it is good. Root pressure is good. It plays a good role. It plays an important role in some plants in some seasons, but it cannot fulfill the requirement of higher trees. There is one more term which I would like to take up along with this same root pressure theory, that is guttation. Guttation, 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 guttation. Now, when the root pressure is high, why I am taking up this topic is because it is related to root pressure. Think about the time when the root pressure is high. Obviously, you know the time, early mornings, rainy season, spring season. I am talking about that time. Now, when the root pressure is high, what happens is the rate of transpiration is low in herbaceous plants. Obviously, I told you the seasons are rainy, spring seasons or early morning. At this time, what is happening is there are two conditions which are being fulfilled. One, root pressure is high, and second, the rate of transpiration is low. If both these conditions are present, remember both these conditions have to be there. What are the conditions? The root pressure is high and the rate of transpiration is low. If both these conditions are present, then some herbaceous plants, they start losing water in the form of small drops. Okay, some water loss takes place in the form of small water droplets from small pores. These pores are called as hydatodes. Hyda, hyda, thodes, thodes, hydatodes, hyda, hyda, thods, hydatodes, or commonly what we call them as water glands. What are they called as? Water glands. So there is some kind of water loss in the form of drops from these water glands which are called hydatodes. And when will this take place? This will take place only when the root pressure is high and the rate of transpiration is low. Where will it take place? It will only take place in herbaceous plants. Remember, not in trees. Only in which plants? Herbaceous plants. Some water is lost in the form of drops from small pores which are called hydatodes, or they are known as water glands. Now these hydatodes are present on the margins of the leaves. Where will you find them? The hydatodes, these water glands, they are found where? On the margins of the leaves or where the main vein ends. Where you have the main vein ending either at that tip of the leaf or you have at the margins of the leaf, you will find these small pores which are known as hydatodes. It is through these hydatodes that water loses, the plant loses its excess water in the form of small drops of water. Is it okay? This phenomenon is very common in grasses and in herbaceous plants like tomato and roses. You can very easily see it in plants like rose at your house itself early in the morning in the rainy season. This process in which water is lost in liquid phase is guttation. See beta, water was being lost in transpiration also, but remember there water was being lost in the water vapor form, not in the form of liquid form. So this is the main difference between transpiration and guttation. In transpiration, water was being lost in the gaseous phase, vapor phase, but in guttation, the water is lost in the liquid phase. So we normally say guttation is a process in which water is lost through the uninjured parts of a plant. Okay, see, I use the word uninjured parts because when water is lost or because of some injury, we call it as bleeding. We don't call it as guttation. This is a normal process. It is not happening because the plant is injured. So this normally takes place from uninjured part of the plants, uninjured leaves. Sometimes leaves get injured and then you see some water oozing out of it. That oozing out of water because of injury is not called guttation. It is called bleeding. What is it called? Bleeding. Remember that term is called bleeding. So this process in which water is lost in liquid form from the uninjured parts of a plant is what we call as guttation. Why does this happen early in the morning only? Very simple. Because early in the morning, root pressure is high. And why is it high? Because the rate of transpiration is low. The water that oozes out will contain both organic and inorganic substances. So this water which will ooze out by the process of guttation will contain both organic and inorganic substances. To conclude, a very quick review, difference between transpiration and guttation. In transpiration, the water loss is from the aerial parts of the plant. Aerial parts. But in guttation, water is lost only from the leaves. In transpiration, the second point, water is lost in the form of vapors. But in guttation, water is lost in the form of liquid, that is drops. Third, in transpiration, water is lost as pure water. Okay? Water is lost as pure water. But in guttation, it is lost out as a solution which contains organic and inorganic both substances. Is it okay? In transpiration, the water loss is pure water. But in guttation, the droplets which come out, if you observe those water droplets, they are actually solutions of organic and inorganic substances in water. Coming to the fourth difference. Transpiration takes place both at day and night. Okay? Guttation generally takes place only at late night or early morning. Transpiration takes place in all seasons, but guttation is observed only in the wet periods. The last point, beta. Transpiration will not stop even if water or mineral deficiency is there in a plant. But guttation stops if there is a deficiency of water or minerals in a plant. So these are the main differences between transpiration and guttation. Transpiration is water loss from aerial parts. Guttation is water loss from leaves. Transpiration, water is lost in the form of vapors. Guttation, water is lost in the form of liquid. In transpiration, the water lost is pure water. In guttation, the water which is lost is a solution of organic and inorganic substances. In transpiration, takes place both in day and night, but guttation takes place in late night or early mornings. Transpiration takes place in all seasons. Guttation takes place in wet periods only. And the last point, transpiration does not stop even under water or mineral deficiency. However, guttation stops if there is a deficiency of water. So this is all about root pressure theory, how to prove the root pressure theory, what are the limitations of root pressure theory, what are the factors which affect root pressure, what is guttation, what is the difference